This is a reading from the poem of the Man God by Maria Valtorta, Volume 5, Episode 628. Jesus appears to various people in different places, 16th and 17th of April, 1947. This is a 30-page chapter, so I might break it up into two parts. Part 1. To Annalia's mother. Eliza, Annalia's mother, is weeping disconsolately in her house, closed in a little room, where there is a small bed without any bedclothes, probably Annalia's bed. Her head is resting on her arms, which, in turn, are lying stretched out on the little bed, as if she wanted to embrace it all. Her body lies heavy on her knees, in a languid posture. There is nothing vigorous about her, but her tears. A faint light comes in through the open window. The day has just dawned. But there is a bright light when Jesus enters. I say enters, meaning that he is in the room, whilst previously he was not. And I will say so to mean his appearing in a closed place, without repeating myself as to how he shows himself from behind a great brightness, which recalls that of the Transfiguration, from behind a white fire, allow me the comparison, that seems to melt walls and doors to allow Jesus to enter with his real, breathing, solid, glorified body. A fire, a brightness that closes itself in him and conceals him when he goes away. But afterwards, it takes the beautiful aspect of the risen Master, but a man, a real man, 100 times more beautiful than he was before his passion. It is he, but it is he, the glorious King. Why are you weeping, Eliza? I do not know how the woman does not recognize the unmistakable voice. Perhaps sorrow overwhelms her. She replies as if she were speaking to a relative who has probably come to her after Annalia's death. Did you hear those men yesterday evening? He was nothing, magic power, but not divine, and I was resigning myself to the death of my daughter, thinking that she was loved by God in peace. He had told me. She weeps more loudly. But many have seen him arisen. God only can raise himself from the dead by himself. That is what I also told those people yesterday. You heard me. I fought against their words, because their words were the death of my hope, of my peace. But did you hear them? They said, it was all a make-believe of his followers, in order not to admit that they were fools. He is dead, dead and buried, and decomposed. They have stolen and destroyed his corpse, and now they say that he is risen. That is what they said, and that is why the Most High sent the second earthquake, to make them feel his wrath for their sacrilegious lie. Oh, I have no more consolation. But if you saw the risen Lord with your own eyes, and you touched him with your own hands, would you believe? I am not worthy of that, but I should certainly believe. It would be sufficient for me to see him. I should not dare touch his body, because if it were so, it would be a divine body, and a woman cannot approach the Holy of Holies. Raise your head, Eliza, and see who is standing in front of you. The woman raises her white-haired head, her face disfigured by tears, and she sees. She drops even lower on her heels. She rubs her eyes. She opens her mouth to utter a cry that wants to come up, but is stifled in her throat by amazement. It is I, the Lord. Touch my hand. Kiss it. You sacrificed your daughter to me. You deserve it. And on this hand find again the spiritual kiss of your child. She is in heaven. She is blessed. You will speak to the disciples about that, and about this day. The woman is so enraptured that she dare not make the gesture, and it is Jesus himself who presses the tips of his fingers against her lips. Oh, you have really risen. Happy, happy I am. May you be blessed for comforting me. She stoops to kiss his feet, and she does so, and she remains like that. The supernatural light envelops the Christ in its brightness, and the room is devoid of him. But the mother's heart is full of unshakable certainty. 2. To Mary of Simon at Kerioth, with Anne, the mother of Johanna, and old Ananias. The house of Anne, the mother of Johanna, the country house where Jesus, in the company of Judas his mother, worked the miracle of curing Anne. Here also there is a room, and a woman, lying on a bed, a woman who is altered beyond recognition by mortal anguish. Her face is worn out. Fever devours it, inflaming her cheekbones, so sunken are her cheeks. Her eyes, black-ringed, red with fever and tears, are half closed under her swollen eyelids, where there is no reddening caused by fever. Her complexion is yellowish greenish, as if bile were spread in her blood. Her lean arms and thin hands are relaxed on the bedclothes, which are raised by her rapid panting. Near the sick woman, who is no one else but Judas's mother, there is Anne, Johanna's mother. She wipes perspiration and tears. She waves a fan of palm. She changes the cloths dipped in spicy vinegar on the forehead and throat of the sick woman. She caresses her hands and loose hair that in a short time has become more white than black, and is spread on the pillow, and, wet as it is with perspiration, adheres to her ears, which have become transparent. Also Anne weeps, uttering words of comfort. "Don't, Mary, don't. Enough. He has sinned, but you know how the Lord Jesus—" "Be quiet. That name, to me, said to me, is profaned. I am the mother of the Cain of God. Ah!" Her quiet weeping changes into exhausted, heart-rending sobbing. She feels she is choking. She catches hold of the neck of her friend, who assists her while she vomits some bile. "Peace, peace, Mary, don't. Oh, what shall I tell you to convince you that He, the Lord, loves you? I repeat it to you. I swear it on the things which are most holy to me, my Savior and my child. He told me when you brought Him to me. He had for you words and providence of infinite love. You are innocent. He loves you. I am certain that He would give Himself once again to give you peace. Poor martyr mother. Mother of the Cain of God. Can you hear it? That wind out there. It says so. The voice goes all over the world. The voice of the wind, and it says, Mary of Simon, the mother of Judas, he who betrayed the Master and handed him over to his executioners. Can you hear it? Everything says so. The stream out there, the doves, the sheep, the whole earth shouts that I am... No, I do not want to recover my health. I want to die. God is just, and He will not punish me in the next life. But here, no, the world does not forgive. It does not distinguish. I am becoming mad because the world howls. You are Judas's mother. She is exhausted and collapses on the pillows. Anne recomposes her and goes out to take the dirty linen clothes. Mary, her eyes closed, deadly pale after the effort she made, moans, "The mother of Judas, of Judas, of Judas." She pants, then resumes, "But what is Judas? What did I give birth to? What is Judas? What have I—" Jesus is in the room, which is lit up by a trembling light, because daylight is still too faint to illuminate the large room in which the bed is at the far end, very far from the only window. He calls her gently, "Mary, Mary of Simon." The woman is almost delirious and does not attach importance to the voice. Her mind is far away, carried away by the vortex of her grief, and she repeats the ideas that haunt her brain monotonously, like the tick-tack of a pendulum clock. "The mother of Judas. What have I given birth to? The world shouts, 'The mother of Judas.'" 2 tears well up in the corner of Jesus' very mild eyes. I am surprised at them. I did not think that Jesus could weep also after His resurrection. He bends. The bed is so low for him, who is so tall. He lays his hand on the feverish forehead, pushing aside the cloths damp with vinegar, and he says, "A poor wretch, that and nothing else. If the world shouts, God covers the shout of the world, saying to you, 'Have peace, because I love you.' Look at me, poor mother. Gather your lost spirit and put it in my hands. I am Jesus." Mary of Simon opens her eyes as if she were coming out of a nightmare, and she sees the Lord. She feels His hand on her forehead. She covers her face with her trembling hands and moans, "Do not curse me. If I had known what I was giving birth to, I would have torn my womb to prevent him from being born." "And you would have sinned, Mary. Oh, Mary, do not depart from your justice because of the sin of another person. The mothers who have fulfilled their duty must not consider themselves responsible for the sins of their sons. You have done your duty, Mary. Give me your poor hands. Be calm, poor mother." "I am Judas's mother. I am unclean like all the things that demon touched. The mother of a demon. Do not touch me." She struggles to avoid the divine hands that want to hold her. The 2 tears of Jesus fall on her face, burning once again with fever. I have purified you, Mary. My tears of compassion are on you. I have not shed my tears on anybody since I consumed my sorrow, but I am weeping over you with all my loving pity. He has succeeded in getting hold of her hands, and he sits, yes, he really sits down on the edge of the little bed, holding her trembling hands in his. The loving compassion of his bright eyes caresses, envelops, and cures the poor wretch, who calms down weeping silently and whispering, Have you no grudge against me? I have love. That is why I have come. Have peace. You forgive. But the world, your mother, she will hate me. She thinks of you as a sister. The world is cruel, that is true, but my mother is the mother of the love, and she is good. You cannot go about in the world, but she will come to you when everything is at peace. Time pacifies. Make me die if you love me. A little longer. Your son was not able to give me anything. Give me a period of time of your suffering. It will be a short one. My son has given you too much. Infinite horror he has given you. And you, your infinite sorrow. The horror is over. It no longer serves. Your sorrow serves. It joins these wounds of mine, and your tears and my blood wash the world. All sorrow is joined together to wash the world. Your tears are between my blood and the tears of my mother, and around them there is all the sorrow of the saints, who will suffer for the Christ and for men, for my sake and for the sake of men. Poor Mary. He lays her down gently. He crosses her hands and watches her as she calms down. Anne comes back in and stops, dumbfounded, on the threshold. Jesus, who is now standing, looks at her, saying, You have complied with my wish. There is peace for obedient people. Your soul has understood me. Live in my peace. He lowers his eyes again on Mary of Simon, who looks at him through a stream of tears, which are now more calm, and he smiles at her again, and he says to her, Lay your hope in the Lord. He will give you all his comfort. He blesses her, and is about to go away. Mary of Simon utters a passionate cry. They say that my son betrayed you with a kiss. Is it true, Lord? If it is so, allow me to wash it by kissing your hands. There is nothing else I can do. I cannot do anything else to cancel. She is struck with deeper grief. Jesus does not give her his hands to kiss, those hands on which the wide sleeve of his snow-white tunic reached down to half the metacarpus, concealing the wounds. But he takes her head in his hands, and he bends, and with his divine lips he lightly touches the burning forehead of the most unhappy of all women. And standing up again, he says to her, My tears and my kiss. No one has ever had so much from me. So be at peace, because there is nothing but love between you and me. He blesses her, and after going across the room quickly, he goes out behind Anne, who did not dare to come forward or to speak, but is weeping, deeply moved. But when they are in the corridor that leads to the main door, Anne dares to speak and asks the question which she has at heart. My Johanna? For 15 days she has rejoiced in heaven. I did not mention it there, because too big is the contrast between your daughter and her son. It is true, a great torture. I think she will die of it. No, not soon. Now she will be more at peace. You have consoled her. You who are more than anybody. I, who pity her more than anybody else. I am the divine pity. I am the love. I tell you, woman, if Judas had only cast a glance of repentance at me, I would have obtained God's forgiveness for him. How sad is Jesus' face. The woman is struck by it. Words and silence struggle on her lips, but she is a woman, and curiosity is the winner. She asks, Was it, did that wretched man sin all of a sudden? Or he had been sinning for months, and no word of mine, no act of mine was able to stop him, so strong was his will to sin. But do not tell her that. I will not, Lord, because now, when Ananias ran away from Jerusalem the very night of the preparation day, without even completing the Passover, he came in here shouting, Your son has betrayed the Master and has handed him over to his enemies. He betrayed him with a kiss, and I have seen the Master beaten, covered with spittle, scourged, crowned with thorns, laden with a cross, crucified and dead through the action of your Son. And our name is shouted with obscene triumph by the enemies of the Master, and they relate the feats of your Son, who for less than the price that a lamb costs has sold the Messiah, and with the betrayal of a kiss has pointed him out to the guards. Mary fell on the ground and became black all of a sudden, and the doctor says that her liver has burst, and the bile has flown out, and all her blood is corrupted by it. And the world is bad. She is right. I had to bring her here because they came near her house in Kerioth to shout, Your son is a deicide and a suicide. He has hanged himself, and Beelzebub has taken his soul, and Satan has come to take even his body. Is that horrible wonder true? No, woman. He was found dead, hanging from an olive tree. Ah, and they shouted, Christ has risen and is God. Your son has betrayed God. You are the mother of the betrayer of God. You are the mother of Judas. At night, with Ananias and a faithful servant, the only one left to me, because no one wanted to stay near her, I brought her here. But Mary hears those cries in the noises of the earth, in everything. Poor mother. It is horrible indeed. But did that demon not think of all this, Lord? It was one of the reasons I had recourse to hold him back, but to no avail. Judas went so far as to hate God, as he had never loved his father and mother or any other neighbor with true love. That is true. Goodbye, woman. May my blessing comfort you to bear the mockery of the world because of your compassion for Mary. Kiss my hand. I can show it to you. It would have done too much harm to her to see this. He throws the sleeve back, uncovering the pierced wrist. Anne utters a groan as with her lips she lightly touches the tips of his fingers. The noise of a door that is opened, and a stifled cry. The Lord! A rather old man prostrates himself and remains so. Ananias, the Lord is good. He has come to comfort your relative and to comfort us as well, says Anne, to console also the elderly man, who is too deeply moved. But the man dare not move. He weeps, saying, We are of horrible blood. I cannot look at the Lord. Jesus goes to him. He touches his head, repeating the same words as he said to Mary of Simon. Relatives who have done their duty must not consider themselves responsible for the sin of a relative. Take heart, man. God is just. Peace to you and to this house. I have come, and you will go where I send you. For the supplementary Passover, the disciples will be at Bethany. You will go to them, and you will tell them that on the 12th day from his death, you saw the Lord at Kerioth, alive and true, in body and soul and divinity. They will believe you, because I have already been with them quite a lot, but it will confirm them in their faith on my divine nature, to know that I am everywhere on the same day, and before that, this very day, you will go to Kerioth to ask the leader of the synagogue to gather the people together, and in the presence of everybody, you will say that I came here, and that they are to remember my words of the farewell. They will certainly say to you, Why did he not come to us? You will reply so. The Lord told me to say to you that if you had done what he told you to do to the innocent mother, he would have shown himself. You failed in your duty of love, and that is why the Lord has not shown himself. Will you do that? That is difficult, Lord. It is difficult to do that. They consider us all as heart lepers. The leaders of the synagogue will not listen to me, and he will not let me speak to the people. He may beat me. However, I will do that because you want it. The elderly man does not raise his head. He speaks bent in deep prostration. Look at me, Ananias. The man looks up, trembling with veneration. Jesus is as bright and handsome as he was on Mount Tabor. The light envelops him, concealing his features and his smile, and the corridor is left without him, without any door being moved to let him pass. The two worship and worship, as they have become all adoration through the divine manifestation. 3. To the children of Judah with their mother Sarah. The orchard of Sarah's house, the children who are playing under the leafy trees, the youngest one who rolls on the grass near a thick row of vine leaves, the other bigger ones who chase one another with joyful cries of swallows playing at hide and seek behind hedges and vines. Jesus appears near the little ones to whom he gave his name. Oh, holy simplicity of the innocents! Josiah is not surprised seeing him there all of a sudden, but he stretches out his little arms so that Jesus may take him in his, and Jesus takes him. There is the greatest simplicity in the acts of both. The others arrive running, and once again the blessed simplicity of children, and without any astonishment they approach him happily. Nothing seems to have changed for them. They probably do not know. But after Jesus has caressed each of them, Mary, the oldest and the most sensible one, says, "So, do you no longer suffer, Lord, now that you have risen? I was so sorry." "I no longer suffer. I have come to bless you before I ascend to my Father and yours in heaven. But also from there I will always bless you, if you are always good. You will tell those who love me that I have left my blessing with you today. Remember this day. Are you not coming to the house? Mother is there. They will not believe us," says Mary again. But her brother does not ask. He shouts, "Mummy! Mummy! The Lord is here!" And running towards the house, he repeats the cry. Sarah rushes. She looks out of the window, just in time to see Jesus, very handsome at the edge of the orchard, disappear in the light that absorbs him. "The Lord! But why did you not call me before?" says Sarah as soon as she is able to speak. "But when? Where did he come from? Was he alone? How foolish you are!" "We found him here. A moment before he was not there. He did not come from the road or from the kitchen garden, and he had Josiah in his arms. And he told us that he had come to bless us and to give us his blessing for those who love him in Jutta and to remember this day. And now he's going to heaven, but he will love us if we are good. How handsome he was! He had wounds in his hands, but they no longer hurt him. Also his feet were wounded. I saw them among the grass. That flower there touched just the wound of one foot. I will pick it." They all speak together, excited with emotion. They even perspire in the excitement of speaking. Sarah caresses them, whispering, "God is great. Let us go. Come, let us go and tell everybody. You innocents will speak. You can speak of God." 4. To young Jaya at Pella. The young man is working with zeal around a cart. He is loading it with vegetables picked in a nearby vegetable garden. The little donkey beats the hard surface of the country road with its hoof. When he turns round to take a basket of lettuce, he sees Jesus, who smiles at him. He drops the basket on the ground, and he kneels down, rubbing his eyes, incredulous of what he sees, and he whispers, "Most High, do not lead me into illusions. Lord, do not allow me to be deceived by Satan by means of false, seducing appearances. My Lord is really dead, and he was buried, and they now say that his corpse has been stolen. Have mercy, Most High Lord. Show me the truth." "I am the truth, Jaya. I am the light of the world. Look at me. See me. That is why I gave your sight back to you, so that you may witness my power and my resurrection. Oh, it is really the Lord. It is you. Yes, you are Jesus." He drags himself along his knees to kiss his feet. "You will say that you have seen me and have spoken to me, and that I am really alive. You will say that you have seen me today. My peace and my blessing to you." Jaya remains alone. He is happy. He forgets the cart and the vegetables. In vain the restless donkey beats the road and brays, protesting because of the long wait. Jaya is enraptured. A woman comes out of the house near the kitchen garden and sees him there, wan with emotion, his face with a faraway look. She shouts, "Jaya, what is the matter with you? What happened to you?" She rushes towards him and shakes him. She brings him back to earth. "The Lord, I have seen the risen Lord. I have kissed his feet and seen his wounds. They have told lies. It was really God, and he was risen. I thought it was a deceit, but it is he. It is he." The woman trembles, thrilled with emotion, and whispers, "Are you quite sure? You are good woman. For his sake you have taken my mother and me as your servants. Do not refuse to believe." "If you are sure, I believe. But was he really flesh? Was he warm? Did he breathe? Did he speak? Did he really have a voice, or did you think so?" "I am certain. It was the warm flesh of a living being. It was a real voice. It was breath, as handsome as God, but man like me and you. Let us go. Let us go and tell those who suffer or are in doubt." 5. To John of Nob. The old man is all alone in his house, but he is serene. He is repairing a chair as on one side the nails have come out, and he smiles at I wonder which dream. There is a knock at the door. The old man, without leaving his work, says, "Come in. What do you want, you who come? Still one of those? I am too old to change. Even if the whole world shouted to me, 'He is dead,' I say, 'He is living,' even if I had to die to say so. So, come in." He gets up to go to the door to see who knocks without going in. When he is near it, the door opens, and Jesus goes in. "Oh, oh, my Lord, alive! I believed." And he comes to reward my faith. "Blessed! I did not doubt. In my grief I said, 'If he sent me the lamb for the banquet of joy, it means that he will rise this day.' Then I understood everything. When you died and the earth was shaken, I understood what I had not yet understood. And they thought I was mad at Nob, because at sunset on the day after the Sabbath I prepared a banquet, and I went and invited some beggars, saying, 'Our friend has risen.' They were already saying that it was not true. They were saying that they had stolen you during the night. But I did not believe them, because since you died, I understood that you were dying to rise again, and that was the sign of Jonah." Jesus, smiling, lets him speak. Then he asks, "And do you still wish to die now, or do you want to stay to witness my glory?" "Whatever you want, Lord." "No, what you want." The old man is pensive. He then decides, "It would be lovely to go out of this world where you no longer are as you were previously, but I forego the peace of heaven to say to the incredulous, 'I have seen him.'" Jesus lays his hand on his head, blessing him, and he adds, "But it will soon be also peace, and you will come to me with the rank of confessor of the Christ." And he goes away, in this case probably out of pity for the old man. He did not appear or disappear in a wonderful way, but he did everything as if he were the Jesus of days gone by, when he used to enter or come out of a house in a normal way. 6. To Matthias, the old solitary man near Jabesh Gilead. The old man is working at his vegetables and is talking to himself. "All wealth that I have for him, and he will never taste them again. I have worked in vain. I believe that he was the Son of God, that he died and was risen, but he is no longer the master who sits at the table of the poor or of the rich and shares food with equal love. Perhaps, no, certainly, with more love, with the poor than with the rich. Now he is the risen Lord. He has risen to confirm us, his believers, in our faith. And they say that it is not true, that no one has ever risen by himself. No one. No man. But he did, because he is God." He claps his hands to drive away the pigeons that come down to steal the seed in the earth that has just been dug and sown. And he says, "It is useless now for you to procreate. He will never relish your little ones again. And you, useless bees, for whom do you produce honey? I was hoping to have him at least once with me, now that I am not so poor. Everything has flourished here after he came. But with that money that I have never touched, I want to go to Nazareth, to his mother, and say to her, 'Make me your servant, but let me stay here where you are, because you are still he.'" He wipes a tear with the back of his hand. "Matthias, have you some bread for a pilgrim?" Matthias looks up, but as he is on his knees, he cannot see who is speaking from behind the tall hedge that surrounds his small property, lost in this green, solitary place beyond the Jordan. But he replies, "Whoever you may be, come in the name of the Lord Jesus." And he stands up to open the fence. He finds himself facing Jesus, and he remains with his hand on the latch, unable to make a gesture. "Do you not want me as your guest, Matthias? You did once, and you were regretting that you could not do so again. I am here, and are you not opening to me?" says Jesus, smiling. "Oh, Lord, I am not worthy that my Lord should come in here. Jesus passes his hand over the fence and opens the lock, saying, "The Lord enters wherever he wants, Matthias." He goes in. He proceeds along the humble kitchen garden. He goes towards the house, and on the threshold he says, "So you can sacrifice the little ones of your pigeons. Take your vegetables away from the garden, and the honey from your bees. We will share the bread together, and your work will not have been useless, and your desire vain, and this place will be dear to you, and you will not have to go where there will soon be silence and abandonment. I am everywhere, Matthias. He who loves me is always with me. My disciples will be in Jerusalem. My church will arise there. Make sure you are there for the supplementary Passover." "Forgive me, Lord, but I could not resist in that place, and I ran away. I arrived there at the 9th hour, the day before preparation day, and the day after. Oh, I ran away as I did not want to see you die. Only for that, Lord." "I know. and I know that you went back, and you were one of the first to weep over my sepulchre, but I was already out of it. I know everything. Here, I will sit here and rest. I have always rested here, and the angels know that. The man busies himself, but he seems to be moving in a church, so reverently he moves about. Now and again he wipes a tear, which is about to mingle with his smile, while he comes and goes to get the little pigeons, kills them, prepare them, poke the fire, pick and wash the vegetables, and put the early figs in a plate, and lay the table with the best tableware. But when everything is ready, how can he sit down and eat? He wants to serve, which seems a great deal to him, and does not want anything else. But Jesus, who has offered and blessed the food, offers him half of the pigeon, which he has cut, placing the meat on a piece of bread that he has dipped into the sauce. Oh, as to a favorite, says the man, and he eats, weeping for joy and emotion, without taking his eyes off Jesus, who eats, drinks, enjoys the vegetables, the fruit, the honey, and offers his chalice to him after taking a sip of wine. Previously, he had always drunk water. The meal is over. I am really alive, as you can see, and you are quite happy. Remember that 12 days ago I was dying by the will of men, but nothing is the will of men when the will of God does not agree to it. And more than that, the contrary will of men becomes a servile instrument of the eternal will. Goodbye, Matthias, as I said that he will be with me, who gave me a drink when I was the pilgrim, about whom every doubt was lawful. So I say to you, you will have part in my celestial kingdom. But I am losing you now, Lord. In every pilgrim see me, in every beggar me, in every sick person me, in every one needing bread, water, and clothes me. I am in whoever suffers, and what is done to those who suffer is done to me. He stretches out his arms, blessing, and disappears.